So, you may have been wondering, why does Google Translate do the thing? And you probably know what thing I'm talking about. Well, I'll tell you. It really comes down to two main reasons. So the first is that translation software normally has a hard time making sense of contextual information. The second is that you often run into this problem with translating in general, where it's hard to find a direct equivalent. Now, first let's talk about that equivalence question. So a really influential theory when translation studies was just starting to become a thing was this idea of equivalency. It was especially influential when this guy Jakobson was talking about it. I'm going to generalize a lot here, so understand that it's much more complicated than this. Basically what it comes down to is that different languages have different categories. So what does this mean? Because that doesn't make any sense. So for example, in English, we have two words for a very similar creature. We have mouse and rat.
Mouse rat?
I don't know about you, but I can't really tell the difference, except I know that rats are generally bigger than mice. But in Chinese, for example, there's only one word to describe both of those animals. 老鼠. Big 老鼠 and small 老鼠. Or whatever different kinds of 老鼠, but that's still just going to be one word to our two. And you know, we have different terms for like gendered animals. A bull is a male cow, whereas a cow is whatever. A rooster is a male chicken, whereas a chicken is a chicken. So we have all of these words for similar creatures, but with minute differences that might not exist in other languages. The example that Jakobson used was a difference between English and Russian in the category of cheese. We all know there are all different kinds of sorts of cheeses. There's like cheddar, there's mozzarella, there's gorgonzola, there's Swiss, there's feta, there's blue, there's also American, Asiago, Brie, Bocconcini, Burrata, Camembert, cheese curds, Colby Jack, cream cheese, Gruyere, Gouda. Then there's Havarti, Limburger, Mascarpone, Jarlsberg, Monterey Jack, Munster cheese, Parmesan, pepper jack, provolone, ricotta, romano, string cheese. But in Russian, there's a kind of food that for us is cheese, but for them is not. That is called tvorig. That does not belong to the category of cheeses. So in Russian you can say, you know, like cheddar cheese or mozzarella cheese, just like you can in English. But you can't say tvorig cheese because it's a different category. And so that's what Jakobson was talking about, is that, you know, there is these differences in the categories, and so therefore, you know, you can't have equivalency ever. But how does that relate to Google Translate? So when you translate a word from a language that belongs to a category that's bigger, like in English for cheeses, into a language where that category is smaller, like in Russian, then Google Translate sometimes just has to pick when going in or out of that difference in category size. So if we take the mouse rat example, we can see that when you translate rat into Chinese, you get shu or lao shu. But Chinese only ever puts out mouse because it just picks one. So that's one issue. Then you have the context issue. Because, for example, mouse for us isn't just like the creature, little mice running around. It's also a computer mouse. And that might not be the same case in other languages. So when you mean one, but Google Translate can't tell from the context that you mean that one and they pick the other one, then you can have a completely different meaning. And that's why Google Translate does the thing.